If you've clicked on this video, you've probably already seen the latest GTA 6 trailer. I mean, everyone and their grandmother has. Honestly, I think it's the most hyped game out there right now, but I also see a lot of concern, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Hello fellow virgins, it is iSuperVirgin here, and here is why I think GTA 6 will be great. Now I need to say that this video is not sponsored by Rockstar. I simply wanted to state what my opinion is on GTA 6 and whether or not I think it'll be a good game. Many factors come into play, both positive and negative, and so I'd say let's go over them. Before I do that though, I'd first like to talk about why the game has as much hype as it does. GTA 5 is still among the top most being played games out there. I think on Steam it is the 7th most played game. Knowing that this is like a 10-year-old game, that is a very impressive feat to have. And then when it comes to sales, I think it's also the second best selling game out there next to Minecraft, which is the best selling game. And I mean, outselling Minecraft is like almost impossible, and plus it's also a lot older. Next to that, I think that both GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 are absolute bangers of games. I mean, honestly, I love GTA 5. I've played through the story multiple times, and Red Dead Redemption 2 is no exception to that. It is still one of my favorite games out there, if not my favorite story game to ever exist. All this love and experience that you get from playing these games. Of course, people are going to be hyped for the next installment of said franchise. Rockstar is also very known for being perfectionists. In both GTA and Red Dead Redemption, there are many secrets, details, little Easter eggs everywhere to be found. To give you a few examples, when you look at GTA 5, let's say you're playing Michael, you have a blue polo on and you start running, eventually you're going to see sweat marks on Michael's back, which is something that you wouldn't normally see in other games. Another little detail is, for instance, when you're wearing flip-flops, instead of in other games where, you know, the shoe would just be sticking to your foot, and when your foot goes up, the shoe comes with. In GTA 5, actually, it works like it does in real life, meaning that your foot goes up, the flip-flop stays on the ground, and then later the flip-flop hits your foot, which is a small little detail that they didn't need to add. The game would still be as good as it is now. It's just there's so many different details like that in GTA 5. And they went even further into Red Dead Redemption 2. One thing that I found so absolutely cool about it is if you fall a lot in mud or whatnot, your character actually gets like visibly dirty from like the parts where you fell into that said mud. But that's not just the one thing. It's not just a visual change. There's also people who actually like say like, did you fight with pigs or something like that? Or even in your camp, you get like Ms. Grimshaw, who goes ahead and goes like, you need to clean up because this is not the way you should be presenting yourself. And it's really cool that these small little details that honestly a lot of people won't even ever see are still in these games, just for like the few people that will see those things. It's definitely a lot of perfectionism that comes into that, and GTA 6 will probably be no different. Then there's of course also these stories that they come up with, and we can date this back to like less than GTA 5, or like before GTA 5, I mean, before 2010, anything like that. I'm looking at Bully or GTA San Andreas also had wonderful good stories. Of course, there's not always going to be like amazing over-the-top storylines, but when you look at them, they're good stories. They have a lot of thought put into them, and like I said, Red Dead Redemption 2 is of course the best they've made so far. It is an absolute masterpiece when it comes to storytelling. So I do think that with GTA 6, this isn't going to be that much different. Of course, you know, there's many different little factors that come into play with such a storyline, but I do feel like we're going to get something really good. This is what people know Rockstar tends to deliver. Many, myself included, hope that this will be the case once more for Grand Theft Auto 6, so that we can enjoy a lot of vast, fun, amazing little moments like we did before in Red Dead or GTA. Of course, I myself am very hyped for the game, if, you know, the title didn't make that clear enough yet. But there are some concerns for like both me and other people that I've seen thrown around, and I think also do need to be addressed because, I mean, the game, you know, it's not going to be perfect. The first concern that comes to mind originates from a report by Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, who back in 2022 had an interview with a I suspect a bunch of different Rockstar employees about like the frat boy culture inside the company and how the next installment of the game was going to be. Apparently, the whole work environment for GTA 5 was pretty bad. There was a lot of brawling, drinking, going to strip clubs. So in a sense, part of their real life was put into GTA 5, and a lot of this has now changed. Now GTA has always been about making fun of different groups. It was like a parody of modern America, and you know, no stone was like left unturned when it comes to like you get roasted and you get roasted, and we all laugh with everyone because, you know, we're a parody of what you are. The article goes like this. So Rockstar's next game, Grand Theft Auto 6, will include a playable female protagonist for the first time, according to people familiar with the game. The woman, who is Latina and who we also now know is called Lucia, will be one of a pair of leading characters in a story influenced by the bank robbers Bonnie and Clyde, the people said. Developers are also being cautious not to punch down by making jokes about marginalized groups, the people said, in contrast to previous games. So I think the biggest concern that people have with reading this little part of the article is that the humor is just going to not be as funny or going to sort of disappear, a bit like the Saints Row reboot. You know, back in the day you had Saints Row and you had GTA, and Saints Row was more goofy and GTA was more serious in a certain sense. But now Saints Row has rebooted and they're dead, they're gone. I think the company got liquefied or whatever. Now you have just GTA. There's no game like it, and I think that's also part of why the hype comes as much. So people are very concerned, like, what if the jokes that are made in GTA 6 will just not be funny, or they'll be like about waffles or some shit. I don't know. It's a very justified concern because, you know, we've had it happen once. We don't want it happening twice. You know, we don't want it losing its soul, losing what it was, you know, what made the game as good as it was. An example of this is Yusuf Amir, who is a character that you meet in The Ballad of Gay Tony, which is an expansion of GTA 4. During this expansion, he actually says the N-word a couple of times, and then when you go to GTA Online, you actually meet him again, Yusuf Amir. If you don't know exactly who he is, I think in the game you have the finishing touches when you have these, like, when you edit guns, when you modify them. So he's like a gun trader. But this character now goes like, oh yeah, you have to watch out with what you say because, you know, people might get hurt. And I think it's a certain message that Rockstar wants to send, right? They don't want to lose their soul. They still want to make those same cool characters like Yusuf, for instance. And the only difference that they want to make with this is that they just don't want people out there to be like, oh wow, GTA again, we're getting fucked over again. But I'm here to tell you that if you look at the GTA 6 trailer, you can tell that these stereotypes that Rockstar is known for, that they're still there and they're just as lively as before. A few little examples are, for instance, there's a guy grabbing his crotch during the trailer, just sort of say like, fuck you, I'm here driving my car, I'm a real American. And, you know, that is a typical little hillbilly dude, and I love it because that is exactly what I want to see in these types of games. I want to see stereotypes that you usually wouldn't see in real life. The same goes for those people in the mud. Yeah, the mud girl, I know she was very popular with a lot of you fucking horny motherfuckers. Then you also have the a little biker gang who blocks a whole crossroad as they're going through, being obnoxious. These are little things. They might not seem like a lot, but even in a trailer of 1.5 minutes, we got to see certain stereotypes come back and or be introduced in this. And I think that alone is very good. The same goes for the parody they made on the real life Joker, who even is like trying to sue GTA or Rockstar Games in this case. It's very fucking weird, but it shows that they know what's going on in the media, and it shows that they do still want to make those stereotypes, do still want to make parodies of things, and do still want to make it funny. So I think that is definitely a concern that we can sort of lay down since we've seen the trailer. You know, time will tell. Maybe the next trailer will show that there's even more stereotypes, and then that way we can just all laugh and realize, you know, this is actually going to be a GTA game. Now, another concern I have, and honestly a very, very big one, is the monetization. GTA 6 itself, I feel like, will have a normal monetization, a $60 or $70 price tag. Now, I've already stated in my previous video that that is a lot of money, but still. A recent article from last November states that the CEO from Rockstar Games has some things to say about how much money games cost nowadays and what he thinks of it. The article goes as following. Speaking to investors in an earnings call this week, GTA 6 publisher Take-Two's CEO Strauss Zelnick had a bit to say about the eternally uncontroversial topic of video game prices. In news worth holding the press for, he thinks they're pretty cheap for what you get in return. Zelnick cautioned one investor against generalizing about the state of game pricing based on the recent fortunes of TV and movie subscription services like Netflix, which have had to increase subscription fees to match their expenses after underpricing themselves initially to grow their audiences. Video games might be all about subscription services these days, Zelnick said, but that doesn't mean that they are subject to the same commercial logics as ye old non-interactive media. In particular, it doesn't mean publishers are currently able to raise video game prices, even if they feel like they're over-delivering. By way of explanation, Zelnick shared a little of Take-Two's own methodology for calculating video game prices. Be warned that the following sentences may give you a headache. They mean that because, this is a bit of a weird one. In terms of pricing for any entertainment property, basically the algorithm is the value of the expected entertainment usage, which is to say that the per hour value times the number of expected hours plus the terminal value that's perceived by the customer in ownership if the title is owned or subscribed to, he said. Wow. That is quite a way of putting it. Another article that I found not too long ago stated that it was basically just the CEO, Strauss Zelnick, saying that video games should be priced per hour. Now, it's very weird that this is like a concern of one of the main CEOs with the highest earnings out there. I myself also have a kind of rule going for that. If I buy a game and let's say I paid $30 for it, if I get 30 hours of entertainment from that, I still think that is a very wonderful deal I got there. And I'm willing to pay $60 for 30 hours of entertainment as well. It doesn't have a certain margin going to it, but it does show me the value of what I'm buying here. A Telltale Games game which cost me $30, which gives me like 4 or 5 hours of entertainment, which I even have to wait for most of it, isn't going to give me, I'm not going to be as convinced to buy it. But Strauss Zelnick was more for the $5 per hour, which is a lot of money to be asking. I do understand why he comes from this perspective, because when you look at it, you have a AAA game like GTA 5, $60, but you get hours upon hours upon hours. I have hundreds of hours in the game myself, and another AAA game that also costs $60, let's say God of War, which is also an absolute wonderful game. I got 50 hours out of that. I played the game, did like pretty much everything, voila, 50 hours, and they're priced the same. And so he's going a bit more like, we should have more a subscription service where it's like you can play the game with the subscription service, but then after that, if you stop subscribing, just like you would with Netflix or whatnot, you no longer get to play the game. This is, of course, not going to be the case in GTA 6. The monetization will probably be pretty okay, like I said, but I do feel like whatever the online component will be for GTA 6 will have some concerning monetization. GTA 5 already has some predatory things with shark cards and whatnot, and GTA 6 will be no exception to that. It probably will be a lot worse. But like I said in the video, I'm talking about GTA 6, not GTA Online. So I do feel like in GTA 6 will be fine, even if it's the last time that I can say this. Now, with these concerns aside, I think from even just one trailer, we can tell that the game is going to be looking good. From the leaks, we can tell that the gameplay is going to be a lot like playing with the Red Dead engine and the way everything like that works, but in a GTA world. I'm not going to show any of these leaks, but you can probably find them somewhere online if you haven't seen them already. They look very good. Graphically speaking, they didn't look too great, but this was, I think, a year or two ago, and even then it was from a build 2 years before that, so this was 2019, 2020, and it already looked pretty damn good. Then there's of course also, when we analyze more details, we also have heard, even from the Jason Schreier report from Bloomberg, that there's this Bonnie and Clyde story, and I think it's safe to say then that the game will indeed have a good story. I hope it will be a lot more grounded than GTA 5 was. I really like GTA 5's story, but it went a lot over the top with blowing up trains and working for the government and this and that. I wanted it to be more grounded like Red Dead was, where it's like blowing up a train is like one of the final missions, right? It's like, wow, this is boom, how could you ever expect this to happen? Where it's more like, oh yeah, you're doing shit with gangs and you're dealing guns and whatever, stuff like that. A bit more grounded, where it's more like, okay, it's just us two versus the world. And I think that is also what they will be delivering. I hope so. But you know, that is my opinion. And that is my opinion with what I've heard so far. I've seen the leaks, I've read a bunch of articles, I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos around this, and maybe I've missed something. So honestly, I'd love to hear your opinion on what you think this game will be. Like, do you think it'll be good? Do you think it will suck? Do you think Trevor will come back? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I also wanted to say thank you for the amazing support my last video has gotten. I'm a very small channel, and it's really surprising to see one of my videos blow up, especially one that I put as much time into as I did. It's incentivized me to make this video right now. So I'm very, very happy that I've given you something of entertainment that you really enjoyed, and it's wonderful to see so many different new people on the channel. So as always, like the video if you did like it. Like I said before, leave a comment with your opinion, and subscribe if you want more like this, because honestly I love making content like this. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.